Hi and welcome. My name is Julieanne Kost, and on this episode of The Complete Picture, we're going to take a look at how we can create a Lightroom catalog and use that Lightroom catalog while we are on location, and then we can import our files and make changes to those files while we're remote, and then how we would actually incorporate that kind of temporary catalog into our larger master catalog at home. So right now, let's go ahead and imagine I am on a laptop computer, and this is the computer that I'm going to take with me into the field. So I want to create a new catalog, and this is going to be a temporary catalog. I'll actually get rid of this catalog later because I find it much easier to really just have one giant catalog for all of my images. So how would we do that? Well, we can launch Lightroom. If you want to, you can hold down the Option key when you launch it, or the Alt key on Windows, and what that does is it brings up this dialog box instead. So instead of just launching a new catalog or launching the last catalog that you had open in Lightroom, this will allow us to create a new catalog. And that's exactly what I want on this machine that I'm going to take into the field, is a new catalog. So I'll go ahead and click Create Catalog, and now I'm going to navigate to the desktop, and I'm going to create a new folder. And this folder is just going to be called New Photographs. And I'm going to put not only my catalog in here, but also all of the photographs on my trip or on my assignment. So here we have this folder, but I also need to create a name for the catalog. So let's just go ahead and put On Location Catalog as the name of that, and then we'll click Create. So Lightroom is now going to create a brand new catalog. Now, if Lightroom was already open, the other way to create a new catalog is simply to go to the File menu and then choose New Catalog. All right, but we have our new catalog now. Let's go ahead and quit Lightroom and take a look at what it created. Well, if we go into the New Photographs folder, you can see there's my On Location catalog, and inside of there I have two items right now. I have the LR-CAT file, that's the database, and I have a preview file which doesn't have anything in it yet because of course we haven't brought any images in. But this is going to be the catalog, and I'll also want to create a folder to put my photos into. So let's right mouse click, create a new folder, and I'll just call this Photos. So at this point, what I have basically is a blank catalog and a blank folder of photos. Let's go ahead and launch that catalog again. I'm simply going to double click it here in the Finder. And what you might want to do is take a minute or two to set up this catalog the way that you want it, because if we're smart about this, we only ever have to do this portion of it once, because I could duplicate that whole folder and kind of have a template catalog so that every time I go on location, I don't have to do all of this. I can start with a copy of the template. So what things might you want to set up? Well, you might want to set up things like your identity plate. So for example, I'll come down here to my identity plate setup, and we can just type in blogs.adobe.com/jkost. And you can see that that adds my URL up here for my blog as my identity plate. Of course, we could also go in here and we could use a graphical identity plate. We can make changes to the size of the module pickers and things like that. But the reason I say you might want to change your identity plate is because your identity plate is one of those things that's not actually a preset, so it doesn't automatically get loaded into your catalog. Same thing with watermarks, so you might want to define any watermarks. Also, if you use things like certain collections every time you go on location, you might want to set up those locations in your template catalog so that you don't have to do that every time. One other thing to note here, I want to make sure that when I go on location, I have the same set of presets that I have when I'm in my home office, because more often than not, I'll actually spend the time in the home office creating those presets, like maybe develop presets, something like that. So what I do, and what you might want to think about doing, is actually storing the presets from your home machine in the cloud so that no matter where you are, you'll have access to those. So if you want to know how to find those presets, it's really easy because in Lightroom, you can just go underneath the Preferences setting here, and then right here under Presets, there's actually a little button here that will take you directly to your presets folder. So when I click on that, you can see right here is my Lightroom Presets folder. Now let's go ahead and enlarge this window just so you can see the path. So you can see that under my username, we actually store the presets in the library. And the reason I say we should probably use that button is because if we go underneath the Go menu right here, you'll notice that the library isn't visible. You actually have to hold down the Option or the Alt key when you're on the Mac and go under the Go menu in order to get to the library. So instead of trying to remember the path on Mac or even on Windows, I just use that button and it takes me right to the Lightroom folder that has all of my presets. You can see it's not just the develop presets, it's all of my presets, right, for all of the different modules. So I would want to make a copy of these up into the cloud so that then I could access these from no matter where I was. So that's a really easy thing to do. If I just simply click here and say, could you please open the cloud folder? You'll actually notice that I did this before I left. So while I was still at home on that master machine with the master catalog, I copied all of those Lightroom presets and here they are right here. So I could simply select all of these presets and bring them over to a secondary machine. All right, now since I've already done that, let's just go back to Lightroom here. I just wanted to make sure that you knew how to get to those presets folder if you want to kind of synchronize them manually across multiple machines. Okay, so now that we've kind of set up this template catalog, let's go ahead and just quit Lightroom again just to see what we've got. Again, we've got our catalog here and our photos. So if we wanted to make a duplicate of this template catalog, now would be the time to do it. And that's quite easy, right? We can just right mouse click on here and we can duplicate it. So now every time I go on location, I can just make a duplicate of this so that I start with a brand new fresh catalog. All right, hopefully that makes sense. So we'll go ahead and put the template catalog, which I would probably want to rename. So let's call this one the template. So we'll just call this template. And what I'll do is I'll just tuck this away inside another folder, knowing that I can always go back to that fresh catalog. All right, so for now, let's go ahead and we will launch this catalog. This is the one that we're going to import our files from Halifax from. Now, I don't know how you like to import your files. That is totally up to you. We just need to get some files in this catalog. So what I typically do, if we return back to the Finder, is I typically download the images from my card to a specific location on my hard drive. And I've already done that. And you can see I actually have day 1, day 2, and day 3. And there's a reason that I've split them out day by day. And that reason is it just makes it easier for me when I'm on location for multiple days to know exactly what images I've already made a secondary backup of and which ones I haven't. Let me just explain. So let's say it's day 1 and it's Monday. I would take this folder and I would drag it into the new photographs folder inside of my photos, right? And it did it very quickly because obviously I've already copied them to this drive. So now while I go back to Lightroom, I can simply choose to import and then I can add those files in place. So we'll go to my desktop, we'll go to new photographs here, we'll go to the photos, and here's Monday. If I want to, we can add things like our metadata, such as our information, our contact and copyright information. We could add in keywords, etc., and then click import. We'll go ahead and enable the reverse geo encoding, and Lightroom will go ahead and import those files. Now, at this point in time, and this is kind of a side note, but just kind of for safety, if we go back out here to the Finder, at this point in time, at the end of every day, I will also copy these files to a secondary location. And that secondary location would usually be an external drive. And the great thing is if you're traveling with someone else, usually if both people have external drives, what I would recommend that you do is just switch them so that you have theirs and they have yours while you're traveling. And that way, like if somebody, forgets their backpack with the drive and their computer in it, they don't lose everything. At least they have the other person's backup. Okay. So those files have been imported into Lightroom. Now let's go forward in time and let's say we've got Monday and Tuesday's images. So we'll go ahead and also put those inside the new photographs, inside photos. There they are right there. Now, there's a reason that I'm actually putting the catalog and the photos in the same folder. And the reason I'm doing that is because they're in this new photographs folder, and that's going to make it really easy when I go back to my other machine to copy this entire folder. And because I'm copying the entire folder, when I import this small little on location catalog into my big catalog, it's going to know exactly where the photos are. It's going to keep that path. So there won't be those little question mark or missing photo icons. All right, but let's go back to Lightroom now. Let's say I want to quickly synchronize. I want to quickly import all of those files. Well, I don't have to go to the import dialog box, but if we look here under my folder area, you can see it only says 01 Monday. So if I synchronize by right mouse clicking, if I synchronize that folder, well, I haven't added any more photographs into that folder. So what I need to do is I just need to right mouse click and quickly tell Lightroom to show the parent folder. So now look, now I've got the photos folder. Now it's telling me that there aren't any loose photos in there, and that's because I have this option show photos in subfolders turned off. So we'll just turn that on. So now we can see I have a total of 69 photos, and they happen to all be in this Monday folder. But what this enables me is by seeing this photos folder, this parent folder, is I can now come in here and say, could you synchronize the folder? And Lightroom can now see Tuesday and Wednesday's photographs. So I'll click synchronize. I had it bring up the import dialog box, but you don't have to if you want to save time. But this way I could enter in Halifax if I wanted to, or make any other changes, and then click import. All right, so all of these files have now been imported. You can see there's Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. I'm just going to do a few things here to show you why it's so important to use catalogs when you're on location, as opposed to simply transferring the photos afterwards. All right, so let's go ahead, and the first thing I'll do is I'm going to take this image right here, and we're going to go to the Develop module. And in the Develop module, I'm going to make a change to this image. In fact, I think that I actually want two versions of this photograph. So instead of changing this one, I'm going to make what's called a virtual copy. And we can just right mouse click and then choose Create Virtual Copy. And if you're not familiar with virtual copies, you can see that what's happened here is that Lightroom now has two thumbnails that represent the exact same original on your hard drive. But I can process these with completely different settings. So for example, if I wanted to come down here to some of my split toning options, we could go ahead and give this maybe an antique look, or let's go ahead. Those are the single colors. Here are the split tones. Let's do something more dramatic. Okay, so now I have this orange yellow split tone image. All right, we go back to the grid view here, and you can see that I've got these two different processed versions of the same file. So I have my virtual copy. All right, if we wanted to, we could rate some images. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to select my painter tool right down here, and I'm going to paint with some ratings. And let's just go ahead and look at all the photos here, and we'll scroll up to the top. And I'm just going to rate a few of these images by just clicking on them. You can see this is a very fast way to rate multiple images. And of course, all of these ratings will come over just like the virtual copy, because we're going to use that catalog. All right, let's also create a collection. So I'm going to click on the plus here. We're going to create a collection. We'll just call this the Best of Halifax. And then we will click Create. And now let's add some photos to that collection. Again, I can do this very quickly by using the painting tool again, but instead of changing the rating here, I'm going to add them to the target collection. And I forgot to set this as the target collection when I made it, so I'll just right mouse click, and we will set this as my target collection. And then we'll go ahead and we'll add some images to this collection. So let's just start scrolling down, and then I just need to tap on an image. You can see the collection will grow every time I decide to select another image. So we'll just tap on a few of these. I just want to get a number of images in this collection because I want to take this over to the slideshow module. So I can in fact click and drag over a whole sequence of images as well in order to add them to the collection. And when we click on the collection, we can see those images. All right, so let's move to the slideshow module for just one moment. And the reason that I'm doing this is to show you, of course, that once you select maybe a template here or you make any changes to it, once you create a slideshow, you should go ahead and save that. So we'll call this Halifax Slideshow, and I'm going to keep that inside the Best of Halifax folder and click Create. So now we go back to the library module, and we've done a number of different things using this catalog, right? We've rated some images, we've created a virtual copy and made some changes in the develop module, we've gone in and created a collection, and we've also saved a project. In this case, it's a slideshow project. Now, let's say at this point in time we get back home, and now it's time to merge both of these catalogs together. Well, one thing that I forgot to tell you that you might want to do is, it's kind of a small thing, but you might want to get rid of your smart collections, because otherwise when you do the database merge, Lightroom in your bigger catalog will just add all of these smart collections a second time and then a third time and a fourth time. So you might actually want to go back to your original template catalog, the first one that we created, and delete it from there so that in the future you don't have to do this anymore. So how would we delete these? We can just right mouse click on them and then choose delete. You don't have to have those smart collections. All right, so let's go ahead, and I'm not going to quit out of Lightroom, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to pretend like I've gotten home and I'm going to switch to my master catalog. So for me, that's really easy. We go to File, we go here to Open Recent, because I've had this other catalog open, and this is my master catalog. In this case, for me, it's my demo catalog, but you guys know what your master catalog is at home. So it's up to you how you get your images from, say, your laptop computer to your desktop computer. You can copy them obviously to the external drive. You could also simply, like if you're on a Mac, you could shut down the Mac, right, your laptop, attach it to your desktop computer, and then restart your laptop holding down the T key. And what that does is it will actually boot your laptop as a drive so that you can just copy those files over directly. So that's also an option. It's up to you. The nice thing about that is that you're not having to copy once to an external drive and then copy again over to your other computer. Or maybe you have a network set up and that'll be really easy for you as well. But in this case, let's go ahead and just imagine that I'm back at my studio, and if we go to the Finder, I've already copied this entire folder of photographs, my catalog and my photos, to my local drive. Now, it's up to you. I think it'd be easier at this point to actually position these or place them in the folder that you want them to finally reside in. So let's open another window here, and I'm going to go to my image vault where all of my photographs are stored. We'll go to 2013, and I'm going to grab this entire folder, this whole new photographs folder, and I'm going to move it to that location. Now, why am I going to do that? Because then the photos are where I want them. So back in my master catalog, now all I have to do is choose File and then Import from another catalog. And I'm going to navigate to my Image Vault 2013. We'll scroll down here to my New Photographs folder, and we'll look for that On Location catalog. And I'm going to double click on that. Lightroom's going to show me this dialog box that says that it found 133 images. I'm going to add the new photos to the catalog without moving them, and I'm going to click Import. So why am I importing from the catalog? Because I want all of those changes that I've made to the file, right? I want the virtual copy, I want the changes in the develop module, I want the collection I've created, I want all those ratings, and I want that saved slideshow project. So we can see here that it's already imported that. It's done the database merge. If we come down here to 2013, here are my new photographs. If we use the disclosure triangle there they are in new photos. There's Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, right? We can see I have the virtual copy. If we scroll down here, you can see that I have the Best of Halifax collection. Inside of there, I have the slideshow. You can see that we've got some ratings here. If we go back up to all photos here, I think we see some ratings. I think I rated some images at the top. There's my 1 star. So now it's really just a matter of just doing two things, in my opinion, to reorganize this. Instead of calling this new photographs, I'm going to right mouse click and I'm going to rename this and I'm going to call it Halifax. And you understand, I'm going to rename this in Lightroom, and I'm doing it after I do the database merge because I need to make sure that the catalog knows where the photos are, right? So I'm just going to rename it here, and then I'll go to Photos, select all of those images, and then just drag them to that level, to that Halifax level. So you can see it's taking them out of Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday because I don't really need to know that they were taken on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I can always do a search using metadata to find out what day they were shot on. The only reason I was organizing them that way was so that on location, I could actually copy just today's photographs to my external drive. And I would know without having to look at each file and saying, okay, well, when was yesterday's cutoff? What number was that? And then what was today's? It's just an easier way to organize. Then, since there's no photos here, I just right mouse click or control click on the Mac, and we go ahead and remove that whole folder because all of the images are under Halifax. All right, one last thing. I'm going to right mouse click on the Halifax folder, and I'm going to say, can you show me this in the Finder? There's the Halifax folder. When we scroll all the way down to the bottom, there's the on location catalog, right? But I don't need that anymore because I've already, in my big catalog, I've done a database merge and I've taken all the information from the on location catalog and I brought that right into the big catalog and I've done my database merge. So we can go ahead and delete that catalog in order to just tidy things up and make sure that it's not taking up any extra space. So you can see when I go into my work in progress folder that we've got our new photos template here, and we can go ahead and pull from this and copy it the next time you go on location. Excellent. That wraps up how to use Lightroom on location. I hope it was helpful. My name is Julieanne Kost. Thanks for joining me.